Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia Filipovic, and I'm here with Matthew Zhang, James Taylor, and Robert Veinberg-Vikking. We are the group Talent Tech for the senior project class this semester. Going through the introduction, we had the opportunity to work with the nonprofit organization Safe Future Foundation. Their goal is to provide and distribute different resources to the community, and these different resources are donated through supermarkets, restaurants, and from those who are also looking to giving back to their communities. Programs and drives within the organization include a food pantry that gives food and beverages to alleviate hunger and thirst, a diaper bank to allow mothers and expecting mothers to have baby products they couldn't obtain in the first place, a period program to provide feminine hygiene products to women who couldn't obtain them in the first place, and a college readiness program to expose upcoming students to tools and knowledge to help them prepare for college. The problems that the organization would like for us to help them solve is to create an inventory management system that would handle incoming donations from vendors, outgoing donations to the community, and tracking the vendors and what they provide for the organization.
My name is Matthew Zhang, and I'm going to talk about the key product requirements. So we met with our client named Chris Toby, and he presented to us the requirements of the system that we're going to be making. The mandatory requirements of the system that he told us were the core inventory management features. So this includes stuff like create, read, update, and delete for the inventory database. The other mandatory requirements that he expressed were the report generation feature, as well as the dashboard and the login capabilities. There was a high risk requirement that was also discussed, and it was considered high risk because we didn't know if we were able to get it done. And that was the email notifications when something reaches low quantity. And then next slide. We began to, based off of these requirements, we dissected them and came up with our use cases and user stories. So the four primary use cases and user stories were the login user story, the CRUD user story, where we create, read, update, and delete to the tables, the dashboard user story, and the reporting user story, where we're able to export and download all of the information in the database to a CSV or Excel file. And then we'll go to the next slide and talk about the solution that we came up with after just passing over the use case diagrams as an example for what we did with the user stories. So next, for the architecture and design details, go into the next slide. We followed the Agile, Scrum, and RUP process. Additionally, everything was done in an iterative development cycle. So everything was worked on and iterated from start to finish. Additionally, we used Jira and GitHub for documentation and for file hosting. And we also used Google Firebase as our form of deployment. We also used Angular materials for the front end. Going on to the next slide just shows the UML and ER diagram that we came up with, which kind of highlights how the backend database works and how the admin interacts with the inventory management system. So that is it for the technologies, platforms, and frameworks that we used. I'm going to pass it along to Robbie now to start the demo.
Alrighty, so first thing, let's get logged into our app here. We're going to get into the main dashboard page here. As soon as we log in, this is going to show some various tables for us to view our data that's in our database. So we got the recent donations, recent vendors, and we also have tables for each of the four programs as well. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and click on the side panel, get that open, and let's head over to the inventory tab. We're gonna go ahead and view all the donations. So we do have a table here to view all of them as well with a filter, and we have items per page set to 5 right now, displaying 1 out of 5 for this, and out of the total of the 24 test donations we have in here. So you can scroll and view them all there. There's also a plus and a minus button if you want to edit the quantity right on this donation page. So this will take you to the add a donation page where you could go to the amount to add tab right there and type in like 15 and click add. It'll go ahead and say, hey, there's now 28 in here, and you can verify that if you go ahead and use the filter option or by going to the scrollable at the bottom. And there it is. The Caesar salad now has 28 items in stock. So from here, you can also manually go to the inventory tab, and we have the option to remove from a donation stock. So there will be a drop down where you can select a program, such as the food pantry and a vendor like Food is Awesome. And from here, we can pick something that we want to do, like maybe the French fries. And we can remove from the amount to remove section. We'll do like 5, and we'll hit the remove button. And now it'll tell us there's 164. It does the math for us, brings us back to this page, and it'll show us our updated quantity. And that concludes the inventory part from here, other than the creating a new donation from scratch, which allows you to choose a vendor to create a brand new donation. And so here you'll be able to name it. So we'll do donuts, and we'll pass in some number here and add it in. So this is a brand new item. And as you can see, it's at the front. There's a new donut. So that's all for the inventory side of things with donations. We can go ahead into vendors.
All right, from the donations, we can go ahead over here to vendors, where very similarly to the donations, you can look at different information and kind of sort through, showing different pages or different number of vendors per page. You can also filter for the specific vendor. And you can also, right from here, go ahead in here and change the organization name or whatever you want, hit submit and go back, and you can see now it's a new organization. And you can also delete right from here, and it will disappear from the website. So you can also go to add vendors and add you can add back the new organization. We can just put some information in here. And I believe it should request a proper email if you don't put that in. So hit submit, and it'll go back and should be able to even sort by the email. So there's the new organization we just put in. So pretty straightforward with the vendors, and all those are attached to each donation, like we said before. We'll go now to reporting, where this is a place that the organization can come and look for just certain types of donations or from certain vendors if they wanted to run a report for just like the food pantry, or they could do any kind of one they want. They could also just look for specific programs. So if they needed to do that, or the other thing they could do is by specific dates. So we'll look for stuff just in March, and it'll show things that have just been submitted in March. Then you can hit export and go to PDF, or it'll generate a CSV or a PDF of just those items. The last few features on the taskbar here are a setting for a light dark mode that was requested. So you can just toggle that on and off. And then of course, well, before I log out, there's also up here on the right for notifications for low quantities. That was something that was requested. And then of course, the logout. So now we'll go back over to the presentation where we'll wrap up.
All right, so for our key learnings, we experienced and learned a lot about software development and the project lifecycle, as well as the development practices for using these technologies like Angular and Firebase, as well as GitHub and Jira, and developing this minimal viable product as well. And meeting with our client and our mentor and presenting in class has really helped us learn about client relations as well. So the next thing to do is to conclude this presentation. We would all like to thank our professor, Dr. Karthik, our mentor, Nicholas Campanini, and our client, Chris Toby.